Why is Palpatine cool with this whole plot? I know. We'll discuss this a little bit more next episode, but I really get the very strong impression when I was first watching this, and indeed, I get this impression this time, that basically Dooku's pushing this a little harder than he should be to kind of remove Palpatine from the equation. More of Dooku's plotting against Palpatine. Yeah. And of course, Dooku is still the evil boss. You are too slow. You have failed me, Death. And he keeps threatening Moralo Eval. I do have to admit, I like how everyone is terrified of Dooku, because who wouldn't be? But I also find it strange how Dooku doesn't sense Obi-Wan at all. Now, at the same time, that kind of lines up with my own personal headcanon of how the Force works, but that's not official canon. That's basically been tossed out the window. To clarify, one of the things that the light side has always been for me is about control and tranquility and being invisible, basically, becoming part of the pattern rather than forcing the pattern to your will, right? And thus the idea there that passivity, if someone who is truly skilled in the light side could theoretically completely mask their presence, either to the point where they are invisible to the Force or literally invisible. That would be an extreme example, but that's kind of the way I've always thought of it. I personally have always had the theory that that's one of the reasons Palpatine stayed hidden for so long. But obviously that's not true, so who knows what the hell's going on with this. Whatever. I do have to admit that Yoda admitting the truth to Anakin is interesting. Because on the first part, it's kind of nice that he owns up to it. But on the second part, he flat out says that he doesn't trust Anakin, truthfully, which just drives more of that wedge in there that Palpatine's already been kind of prying apart there. It's once again part of what Palpatine is really best at, manipulating the situation with the truth. Anyways, so then they go to the bounty hunter planet, and Cad Bane kills someone for a hat. I've done that in Fallout 3 once. I saw some guy and I really liked his outfit, so I killed him to steal it. That's kind of different. Anyways, what's with the who's who? Here's such and such, and here's such and such, and here's such and such. They basically just paused the episode to do this who's who of a lot of characters, most of which are not going to survive this very episode. It just struck me as kind of weird. Also, the Selkath! Oh my god. So, I got a couple questions. How often do they use this tournament thing? Like, they've mentioned they've done this before. They also, how do they get the funds to do this? Because they pay these bounty hunters very well. Oh, they also build this massive, expensive, modular death thing, which also has a projection hologram thing and can be remotely controlled. How expensive is this stupid thing? Also, why did the the bounty hunters agree with this despite flat out being told that everyone but the top 5 are gonna die? Even if you survive, they were going to kill them off. They flat out say that. Rule number 1 of being a mercenary: I'm not getting paid enough to die. In other words, you don't take a suicidal mission because no paycheck is worth no longer being able to take the paycheck. That's literally mercenary 101. Why is anyone okay with this? Unless they're that cocky or that stupid. I don't know. So then they start going through the challenges. These are actually kind of cool. Anyone else feel like these are a video game? Like, I know that sounds like a strange thing, but it feels like there's a deliberate puzzle, like a Zelda game. You know, there's a deliberate puzzle, there's a deliberate method by which you're supposed to go through the puzzle, and then that's the solution. Okay, I'm with that. I also, it kind of works for me. Several times throughout the whole thing, Cad Bane shows either pragmatism or respect. I like to think it's at least a little bit respect. He would probably never admit that because Cad Bane is an asshole, but I do think Cad Bane has respect for Obi-Wan throughout the course of this thing and gains it more as Obi-Wan keeps leading him forward. It's funny to me, by the way, how Moralo just keeps getting pissed off at that how many people keep surviving. I don't know if that's because he's a psychopath or because Dooku keeps down-talking him like, that guy is better than you in every way. I just thought I'd let you know that. I have to point out really quick, by the way, once again, the level of danger Obi-Wan's going to over this thing. Like, this is getting to ludicrous extremes here. In fact, he would have probably died if not for Cad Bane intervening. Oh, speaking of which, you like that? So, how many... I alluded to Dungeons & Dragons last episode, right? How many of you have played with bad GMs? And I've been a bad GM too. Although I'd like to think I haven't been a bad GM in a very long time, because I've made an effort to be better. Um, when I say bad GM, I don't mean someone who has issues with story or the narrative doesn't quite make. No, I mean when I say bad GM, I mean, oh, well, you're pissing me off. So a Tarask shows up and punches you in the face. You're dead. You take 342 damage. Because that's exactly what Moralo does here. He's guiding through this whole thing, and he gets so pissed off, he finally's like, all right, you need to get 5 shots to make this. Oh, you only have 4 shots. You need to be lucky to be a bounty hunter, but I'm afraid you're dead. Bye. That is literally straight up cheating. This is why I say I think Cad Bane has a degree of respect for him. Respect for Obi-Wan, I mean. Because Obi-Wan hasn't cheated yet. Obi-Wan has been manipulative and deceptive and violent and leading through the situation, but the one thing he hasn't been is, this is going to sound strange, unprofessional. He hasn't been disrespectful. I don't want to call him honorable, even though that is what he's doing, but more of a mercenary can look at another mercenary and think, this is someone I can work with. Cad Bane can work with Obi-Wan. But I have a feeling Cad Bane can realize in this moment how much it would suck to work for Moralo, right? So Cad Bane stays with him, and now they have to fight one-on-one, and blah, blah, blah. It really is nice, as an aside, while I'm talking about this, to see Obi-Wan's leadership skills in action. We don't really see a lot of that when he's commanding an army, strangely enough, but him with his squad, he does a lot of what I would call naturally charismatic leadership actions throughout the course of this episode. Just kind of basically saying, look, here's what we should do, and then he starts doing it himself, which naturally leads to the others to make it through the whole thing. He basically is the reason they all get through this, funnily enough. And so yeah, the sniper test, and yeah, blah, 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 blah. Moralo sucks. I know I've said that like 3 times, but he really does suck. Why? He's got to cheat to make this whole situation happen, and then when he's finally called on it, he flips out. And despite his own insistence on how you have to be lucky and how you have to be good at all sorts of dangerous situations, he can't deal with this being turned against him. So he just keeps using the thing. He just stands there pushing buttons. He has literal control over the terrain, and yet he's still losing this fight. It's not until he finally stops that he gets any kind of hits in at all at Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan just trounces him. Also, why didn't Obi-Wan kill him? I know, Jedi don't kill, blah, blah, blah. Why didn't Obi-Wan kill him? This is a dangerous, violent psychopath who is involved in a plot to kill the Chancellor and is a separatist who has just tried to kill him and many other people, has just succeeded at killing many other people. I think this is officially morally acceptable to kill this guy. Anyways. Whatever. Next time we'll see the conclusion of the bounty hunter Obi-Wan Anakin weirdo plot. I don't know. What's the name of this arc? Whatever. I'll see you guys next time.